I think the banker of the future is somebody who can take a more advisory role in people's lives and give them products and services that make all frictions in your life go away and make things easy.
All right, this is Heja Framtiden, the Swedish podcast on the future. My name is Christian von Essen, and I'm recording from Internetdagarna, the Internet Days from Internetstiftelsen, the Internet Agency in Stockholm, Sweden. I'm here with Yngvar Ugland, Executive Vice President, and Espen Sande Larsen, Senior Vice President from DNB New Tech Lab, Oslo and Palo Alto. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
DNB is the biggest Norwegian bank. And well, it's actually called the Norske Bank, right? DNB. Yeah, that's easy. And you run a new tech lab as a sort of playground. Can you explain a bit of what you're doing there?
Yeah, a lot of people think that we just play around with technology. This is, in fact, serious business. The way we look at it is that we're kind of the SWAT team for new technology, so special weapons and tactics. We carry with us everything we have, an autonomous team that can go out in the field. We do believe that the future is already here. It's just very unevenly distributed. So it's our task to go into uncharted territory and figure out where it's safe to go and where it's not, and then kind of report back to experiments. And we have a technology radar that's kind of guiding the rest of the company on what kind of technologies would be suitable for different tasks and so on. So we're a small team moving very fast, and it's kind of like a small boat in front of the supertanker to scout for both paradise and icebergs.
And why is a big bank like this doing such an initiative?
I think it's partly because our business model is to deliver the best services for our customers, and it's important to try to explore what is the future services for our customers that we do not know exist yet. So it's basically having a couple of bets in to figure out which directions are we heading, and do that quickly.
We listened to David Rowan earlier as a keynote speaker, author and previous editor of Wired. He was sick of the innovation theater, as he called it. How do you make sure that you don't end up performing some kind of innovation theater?
Well, when it comes to large-scale innovation in DNB, we know that all our investors are looking at our numbers, and this is kind of something that is everyone is measured on how well our innovation investment actually producing return on investment. So using traditional metrics like that, it always helps, but you also need to get the right people on the bus. A lot of people thought that now I'm a technologist just because our former CEO said that now DNB is going to be a technology company with a banking license. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're a technologist. You're still a banker. So you need to have the people that understand what innovation actually means. And I agree with him. There is a lot of theater. So you need to have the right mindset and have the right practices and tools to do innovation. First doing it at small scale, and also managing to scale it so that everyone can do innovation, not just an innovation department or something, because then it becomes theater. Yeah, and all these, like he talked about, also all these abbreviations and so on. It's not just theater. Sometimes it's innovation poetry. It's just It's you have to measure it and manage it.
And another thing that he mentioned was the ability to build an ecosystem, and that is an ability that you have as a bank with financial muscles. What kind of areas do you think you should or could venture into when you have this a huge customer base.
There's plenty, and there's not a shortage of ideas or things to explore, right? It's a vast universe that we can go to. So we're looking into stuff like AI, quantum computing, blockchain, and we also have put a lot of these things together into new products and services, like the fridge that we presented, for instance, which is a self-contained autonomous fridge that can essentially work as a small business in itself. But yeah, there's many places to explore.
And that's called the Smidge?
Yeah, it's a smart fridge. It's basically an autonomous device we built both to explore like the limits of AI in the form of computer vision, but also to build not just a phone-free shopping experience, but also building a device that is autonomous in all senses, meaning it has tracks its own inventory, it does its own billing, getting income, it orders new inventory when it needs to. It's basically a store of its own with no employees. And the reason we're doing that is that opens a whole lot of new opportunities for how can this store finance itself. What if it wants to become a customer of a bank? And this is popularly referred to as things as customers. So we did it as kind of a gimmick because it's a cool thing. It's an autonomous. It's basically a bar where you can just go and grab what you want and it just refills itself. It's a wonderful thing. But it's actually so it's not just playing with technology. It's actually to see when more and more things becomes autonomous. How do we deal with that? So that's kind of the next phase we're going to explore with the Smidge, the smart fridge.
And you also mentioned an example from a cafe who charged customers based on facial recognition technology.
Yeah. Exactly, and we're at the top of the hype curve of the adoption of smartphones. We sometimes even see that sales are decreasing, so we don't know what will be the future, but one option is that we don't have these phones as proxies to the intelligent surroundings, that we will eventually be just carbon-based UI, and also like David Rowan talked about in his keynote. I think it was him. Why don't we just operate it directly into the brain? That might be the future as well, but that's farther into the future. So what we want to test out is both how easy is it technology-wise, how well does it play with regulatory constraints, and what do users think. And we learned a lot from that. We don't think it's going to be mainstream anytime soon.
I mean, you also mentioned, because we're on the conference track called The Future of Governance. We talk a lot about privacy and integrity and democracy. And you mentioned that the bank, since you have such a high amount of trust in the Nordic countries, maybe the bank can be a custodian of personal data.
Yeah, definitely. Since people already trust us with their valuables, right? Why not trust us with their data? And we have no sinister gains from being in the custodian of that data, like others have. So I think we're in a good position to be that.
Regarding the regulatory framework, as you said, it's a bit complex sometimes to navigate. And you mentioned that you're trying to open up, or the Norwegian government is opening up a fintech sandbox. Is that a way of moving forward, iterating so that the regulatory framework can move along?
Yeah, I think definitely, and that's our model just at scale. We're a lab, so we can do experiments and see what works, and then if it really works, then we can sometimes hand it off to others that can make this a large-scale product, and they will consume all their time for many years. That's not how we work. We just do all these small iterations, and I think the supervisory authorities they are risk averse by design. They're supposed to be. They want to make sure that, especially at least in Norway, I assume it's the same in most of the Nordics. They go to work to make sure that we don't have another financial crisis, which means that there's a lot of things you can't do, but it also means that it's very hard to come up with improvements. So with the sandbox, you can play well with them. You can show them this is what we want to do, not only within AI, but maybe even more so within blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and the distributed ledgers, and so on. They need to know how to regulate it, and they can't look into that before they have some actual examples to look at. And they say, well, you got to put it out there. Well, we can't put it out there because you haven't regulated it so that we can do it. So with the sandbox, I think that would really help to. And it's not just about digital innovation within financial services. It's also about the digital development of society, because that's a huge difference when we're based in Oslo and also in Silicon Valley. In Silicon Valley, you have a lot of fantastic companies with fantastic technology, but they have a Stone Age society. Here in the Nordics, we have ultra modern, super digital society. And if you look at government infrastructure, digital infrastructure, and banking infrastructure, it is really like science fiction to our friends in California. So it's not just about innovation and competing and getting better products for consumers and so on. It's also about bringing the society at large to become more digital.
So what is your vision of the bank of the future?
Ooh. I think the bank of the future is somebody who can take a more advisory role in people's lives and give them products and services that make all frictions in your life go away and make things easy. And of course, they will still be the custodian of your valuables, but it may not look the same.
Yeah, I agree. And sometimes we play around with this idea of, as a DNB customer, you should never ever again be broke. You should never run out of money. So kind of the last personal financial assistance you will ever need. And we use that as an example of something that is entirely impossible today, but will be possible sometime. It doesn't mean that you would have as much money as you would like at any point in life, but it's about taking that proactive advisory role in people's life. And like I also talked about earlier today, it's something about giving people financial peace of mind and enable both people and as well as businesses to do more of what really matters to them. And for people, individuals, that's mostly about life quality, and for businesses it's about making money of what is their purpose. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for joining here from Framtiden.
Thank you for talking to us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Check out New Tech Lab at DNB. Do you have a website?
Yeah, you can check out newtechlab.wtf. That's newtechlab.what's-the-future.
Yeah, it's the same as your shirt. What WTF? Also smidge.ai if you want to look for the weird self-sustaining fridge.
There is.
All right, hejaframtiden.se. You can find everything you need to know. My name is Christian von Essen. This is Heja Framtiden from Internetdagarna, the Internet Days in Stockholm, Sweden. Thank you for listening.